This is the categorical imperative in its original composition. There is therefore only a single categorical imperative, and it is this: act only in accordance with that maxim through which you can at the same time will that it become a universal law.
Act in such a way that it could become a universal law. Act on that maxim. Act on the maxim that whatever you do, everybody would, could, and should do it. So, like we went through this before, what if everybody robbed and stole? Well, the society would break down. Maybe that's a good thing. So it doesn't get you anywhere. The categorical imperative just substitutes. It just says, look at society as a whole. That's all it says. It substitutes society for morals. And it still doesn't give you an answer to morality, except that you are evil. He called us radically evil. That's Kant's words. This radically evil creature should sacrifice itself from a sense of duty. Kant's words, radically evil creature.
So I talked about this before. When you act, you assume the result of what would happen if everyone acted that way. And that's how you know what a good action is. If the result is a good world...
If the result is a good world, we still don't know what good means, do we? So we aren't anywhere, are we? If the result's a good world. Wasn't our question how to say what is good?
Projected rationally, then you are doing a good action. If the result projected rationally is terrible, which
how would we know
most of them are,
So, a rational projection of the concentration camps and stuff is good or terrible? If it's good, go ahead with it, right? Because you're not doing it selfishly, you're doing it for society. You're doing it on the basis that everyone should be doing this. Anybody who is in the position of power should definitely be killing the Jews if they have a chance, or whatever it is. With disregard for the question of what is good and bad. Where does that come from? How do you justify that? I mean, in objectivism, you justify good and bad on the basis of the binary decision in life, to live or die. Ethics is the art of living. Ethics is the art of deciding to live and not die. But everybody else is very, very confused about ethics and what they're for.
Then you're not doing a good action at all. That's why lying is bad, stealing is bad, killing is bad.
Why are they bad?
Because it ultimately leads to the destruction and breakdown of society.
Why do we want society? Why is society good? Especially if I'm a Marxist, what the hell do I care about the destruction and breakdown of society? So it still doesn't give me a value to go by.
Whereas treating others well, that's a good thing, because if everyone treated each other well, everyone's treated well. So
why would we want everyone to be treated well anyway, though? I mean, that's what do you mean? What does it mean to be treated well anyway? You haven't answered that. Does treated well mean that you give them free food and keep them in a slave pen? Is that treating them well? Or does treating them well mean that you leave them alone, no matter what happens to them, you don't interfere with their life? Even if they end up jobless, homeless on the street, you treat them well in the sense that you leave them free. What does treating them well mean?
Everyone's good.
Then everyone's good. Great. So we still don't have an answer to the problem of ethics. Thank you.
The whole idea of duty, though, the duty is to the moral law, and it isn't just for the sake of doing it. It's because it results in good action.
Because it results in good action, but we haven't answered what is good yet. So you see, Kant is simply saying sacrifice yourself. He's saying act on the moral imperative that everyone should do whatever it is that you do, and simultaneously you should not do it for your own self-benefit, right? You have to do it for other people, or you have to do it for other people even if those people don't necessarily have to benefit. That doesn't really matter so much as long as you sacrifice yourself. That's the ultimate thing that Kant wants you to do. You sacrifice yourself. It doesn't even matter so much if they benefit. So he says it leads to a good world for the other people. Kant didn't care about that. He wanted you to sacrifice yourself out of a sense of duty, this radically evil creature.
This is the whole point in Kant, is to develop yourself as a good individual.
No, to sacrifice the radically evil individual, actually. Radically evil, those are his words.
as a virtuous, no, not virtuous, because he wouldn't use that language, as a moral human being, as a moral agent. And duty is the ought that you feel compelled to fulfill.
Duty is a feeling. Made itself felt by means of a feeling. Always you just have to accept something on faith, and this is the Kantian faith bit. The feeling of duty.
It's not some blind following, and the example you use of a child being reared, basically, that's not accurate at all, because every human being has to define their own moral action. Kant will talk about certain things that are always true, or at least he claims they're always true. There are instances where they're not, such as the always, or never kill, things like that, never steal, never lie. Like, okay, well, it's World War II and you're hiding Jews in the basement and the Nazis knock on your door. Well, is it better to lie or is it better to sacrifice these people? And in those cases, you have to choose, and neither one's really right, neither one's really wrong.
Now, I don't agree with this interpretation. There are times when it is your moral imperative to lie. There are times when it is your moral imperative to kill. Like, if a robber comes to the door and says, are your wife and kids here? I'm going to come in and kill them. If they're not, I'll go to the next house. And do you say, yes, they're here? You say, no, they're not here. And you immediately phone the police while he goes to the next house. Or get your pistol if you have one and shoot him. But you can't say that it's immoral to lie. Why is it immoral to lie? What forbids lying? The thing that forbids lying is the fact that it puts you in contradiction with reality. And that's a problem, because reality will always win. Now, are you in contradiction with reality when you tell the robber that your wife and kid are not home? Or when you tell the Nazis that the Jews are not in the basement? Are you in contradiction with reality? Or are you doing whatever you can to defend and support reality against thugs? So it's a question of context. These people that are baffled about when we can or cannot lie or cheat or steal, they have no moral background to base it on whatsoever. They have no background to base it on at all. The moral background for objectivism is the good is that which is in favor of life. The bad is that which is in favor of death. All of ethics is to choose life. Now, is it good or bad to lie? Lying is always bad, even if you die lying. It's better to die telling the truth than... that's nonsense. What good is it then to tell the truth if you get killed doing it? So it's the context of your life, or somebody else's life, or some other value that's important. It doesn't necessarily have to be your neck in a noose. So lying has to be in a context. It can't be judged absolutely, and again, it all comes down to the binary life or death.
Different maxims that you're trying to follow, and if you get into later deontological ethicists, then they try to have a ladder system of or a hierarchy of maxims. Kant was against that. The point is, though, is that it's not concrete, and his system is not this self-sacrifice no matter what system. You are to treat your actions as if they were universal.
It's not a self-sacrifice no matter what system.
That's rule number one. Number two is always treat other rational beings as ends in themselves rather than mere means. That is, don't, use people. Treat them as individuals, as rational agents, and treat them with respect because of that.
Now here we have just another absurdity inside Kant's philosophy. He gives you a whole universe and the moral imperative to act in a certain way. And then he says, by the way, have respect for other people. And just pulls that out. Just like pulling out the idea that there's a background objective reality we can all refer to because we're all rational entities, and therefore we're all going to see reality the same way. And you just pull that out and assert that, and he thinks that it lets his system float. But his system obviously quickly degraded and broke into the constituent philosophies that the philosophers that developed it later. So little inconsistencies and irregularities in the philosophy like this just show that Kant was, at the end of the day, a sloppy thinker didn't integrate his philosophy at all, and it was a bit of a mishmash, just